Welcome to the Yixuan guide in 6 minutes, and let's get right into it. Yixuan is an ether-based on-field DPS agent. Before we talk about her mechanics, let's talk about the various resources she has. Now if you pay attention to the upper left bar and all her resources, she has 3 types. She has Adrenaline, which functions like energy where the energy bar is, but her energy is special and it doesn't regenerate via energy regen stat. And then there's Technique points that you get from using Adrenaline via the EX specials. And then you have Auric Ink points that you activate using a hold dodge. So Yixuan's special because she has 2 ultimates. Her first ultimate uses the technique points like so.
Swift yet still. Release.
And her second ultimate uses
Your
decibels.
fate is sealed.
So as you can see, her whole playstyle revolves around casting as many EX specials as you can to get as many technique points as you can to cast as many ults as possible. Most of her damage will come from her EX specials and her ult. Now let's get into the intricacies. We'll start off with her EX specials. She has 2 EX specials like how she has 2 ults. For the first EX special, you can activate using her EX special button. There are 3 parts to her EX special and you can activate each part by tapping it again and again. Like so. 1, 2, 3. You can actually parry with the first part of the EX special and then tap 2 and tap 3 to generate maximum technique points and do good damage. Why you want to parry it is it gives you additional technique points like so.
Let's make this quick.
You can also hold the EX special to time
Let's
the
make
parry.
this quick.
To do more damage, tap into tap 2 and tap 3 like so. For her second EX special, you want to use it when the enemy is stunned because it provides additional damage. And you can use her second EX special by holding the basic attack button like so. So just to recap, you want to use your normal EX special outside of stuns and trying to parry for those extra technique points, and you want to use your whole basic EX special during the stun windows to squeeze out some additional damage. Earlier we talked about hold dodge. You can actually hold dodge to expend an Auric Ink point, which is the thing above, to generate technique points. As you can see, her entire kit is very reliant on generating a lot of adrenaline, and here are some ways you can generate adrenaline. Okay, now let's talk about rotations. Outside of the stun window, it really depends on the situation and the enemy you're facing. However, you want her to have as much on-field time as possible to generate as much adrenaline as possible, to build as much technique points as possible, to cast as many ultimates as possible. Let me show you an example of a stun window rotation. First, I want to initiate the stun with my stunner.
One shot, one kill.
And then I'll swap off the Yixuan.
Disappointing.
Cancel.
Cycle of yin and yang.
Casting both ults.
Your fate is sealed.
And then I want to hold basic EX special right after this.
Concentrate.
And do it again. And there we go. And then after this, you actually want to hold dodge.
She and mine is
Expand
one.
the Auric Ink point to get more adrenaline. Now let's talk about some stats. This stat over here, Sheer Force, is very important as she scales off Sheer Force. Agents of the team will have their attack stat converted over to Sheer Force, but also Yixuan's Sheer Force stat will scale with her HP thanks to her core skill. Yixuan's attack will also scale with Sheer Force, but not as much as her maximum HP. Now let's get into the drive disc. You want to use a 4-piece Yonkui Tails and a 2-piece Branch and Blade Song or Woodpecker. For piece 4, you want crit rate or crit damage. For piece 5, you want ether damage bonus. And for piece 6, you want HP percentage. You basically want to get as much crit rate and crit damage as possible, sticking to that golden 1:2 ratio, followed by building your HP to increase your sheer force stat. Let's talk about the W engine. Obviously, her signature Qingming Birdcage is the best, but Puzzle Sphere is the best F2P option as it increases your EX special damage but also lets you take advantage of her frequent EX specials to get more crit damage. Now let's talk about Yixuan's best teams. It is very easy to fulfill her team passive as all you need is to pair with a support or defense character or stun character. If you also got the panda as part of the pulls, you are in luck because the panda was literally made for Yixuan. The panda not only gives her buffs to her damage but also additional sheer force and also heals the team. After the panda, you literally want to put any support, defense or stun agent. However, I do think Astra Yao is currently the best in this slot. I have no doubt a future agent will be tailor-made for this slot, but this is the best that we currently have. If you don't want to build the panda, just like me, you can also use a stunner, a support, or defense agent, and Yixuan. However, just take note that this is definitely not the best team comp. As you can see, I don't even fulfill Trigger's passive. Thank you for watching the guide, and excuse me while I appreciate the new costume that I bought for Yixuan. Thank you, see ya, bye bye!